God will reveal the situations before us. And in doing this, we found that people, yes, they understood. And we had problems. We did a baptism in the river, and I did the baptism in the river, and I nearly lost a patient because of the current. And you only do that once, and then the next time you hang on a bit harder. And these sorts of things, and you baptise somebody in the sea and they get filled with the Holy Spirit at the same time. But let's face it, what's the problem with that? And we see God moving, and we see people becoming strong. We see people taking up responsibilities and enjoying it. And once that happens, things are good. And this is the way it is with the ministry which we have. And we obviously have to be aware of what problems are with the ministry and refer to them according to the power and the might of the Holy Spirit. And if we do that, we grow stronger continually within that thing. And as I said, it is noticed from the outside. It is noticed soon with people working hard within the actual church, within the ministry, within whatever it may be. It is noticed and it is used. And the same thing moving within Papua New Guinea, we found local people were responding, people were coming to this place. And although we had to do our part of it, we had to go there, and I said, we've been called to do it. We might end up working on vehicles, and we might end up working on all these things, but it's all is part of it, and it's part of it. And we had these problems with people like MAF, they fly and it's good, but they don't want to do anything else. And there's an opportunity to do something else, and they're missing out on that thing. And still, God still surprises us sometimes, amazes us by the power of the Holy Spirit. We were working on a job in a hangar, and next to our hangar was the MAF, Ministry Aviation hangar, right? And they talking to me one day, and I knew about this problem beforehand. They won an aircraft, and it's a light aircraft as such, a single engine aircraft, and every time I tried to put the wheels down, the circuit breaker, which is a device to save the system if there's a fault, popped out, and you have to push it back in to reset it. And every time they put the wheels down, it popped out. They pushed it back in and it worked. So they thought, okay. And they flew it around and all their mechanics had to go at it and everybody. So finally it got to a point where it came down to Australia for major maintenance. When it came back, guess what? It still did exactly the same thing. And they couldn't believe it, and they didn't know what to do next. And we were in the next hangar next door, and he came in and says, oh yeah, this is no good and all the rest of it. And I said, well, okay. He said, well, actually, I've got it all open, all the circuit open, where it's exposed at the moment. He said, come and have a look if you like. So I go into this aeroplane and have a look at it, and it's obvious to me that the wiring is wrong on one of the relays, one of the switches. So I said, yeah, change it over, look, change this over, and that will fix it. So he didn't believe me, and it did. And I've been flying around all that time. Now there's God doing a miracle. That's the Holy Spirit getting there before you, And this is why you just should be challenged in anything before you, because if God is before you, who can be against you? And that is the way to look, and it certainly works. So we go there and we have to do these things. We have to work, and we're working on the car when we should be doing something else, but we have to do it sometimes. We have to work out our priorities, and we saw that grow completely. We had a place called Garahu, and we bought this area where there was room for 2 buildings, so that was good. We had somebody situationed out there for that particular area, and the second building was just like a carport that we had sort of loose meetings in the carport. And then the government came along and they said, you can't do that, that's just a residential area. So you'll have to give it to us back. So we said, okay, what are you going to do? And they said, well, look, there's a piece of land across the road, a big piece like that, you can have a piece of that. That's not residential. How much do you want? So we said, all of it. So we said, oh, yeah, all right. So they gave it. So that was good. And everybody was happy about that. And we used the area next to us because it was vacant anyway. And I came away and all the rest of it. And then after I was even back here, they looked at it all and they thought, this is a complete waste. Why don't we buy it ourselves back? Why don't we buy it back and put another house on it, you see? So we said, okay. So I'd go down to the registry office and say, look, we need to buy this house. We need this house. And they said, oh, yeah, you can have it, but we can't do anything about it. It belongs to Assemblies of God. Worked that one out, So they already had it. So, yeah, so they went forward on that one. So we've had a number like that. We've had a few places. So I had a place, actually this new place where the latest Bible school was built. It was an area where everybody wanted to buy and nobody was able to buy it, and somehow we managed to buy it. Work that one out. I can't. So, yeah, the situation's moved quite quickly within this area, and we've had some amazing movements in Papua New Guinea, and the fact that you sort of say, we went up there and God led us to the place where we were able to establish a church in there. So how did you manage to do it? You just follow the path that God leads you in that situation. And you have to remember, there's no communication up there. And when we went out, as soon as we got the church, or as soon as we got the path to the church established, we also went out to one of the, it was a forestry compound building, which was out of a place called Brown River. And we went out there and we started some meetings out there, and it worked quite well. And it was very dodgy in so much that if it rained, you could hear the rain coming. And if you didn't get back to the ford before the rain did, you got flooded out and stuck there. And you couldn't ring anybody. You couldn't do anything. You had to wait for it to go down. Well, that sort of worked okay and everything. And we got to a point where it was so bad that we couldn't get out there. So for a period of, I think it was 2 months, we couldn't get there because the weather was so bad. And okay, so you had to leave it. So when we got back there, we're totally concerned over the situation with the meeting there. The meeting was already going. They'd already started themselves. And one of the guys there, he actually ended up coming into ministry as a result of it. And these are the sort of things that happened, all the time. But you had to go, you had to push it through into that situation first. You had to follow the path that God laid for you along this path here. And that was some of the situations that worked there. And we got to the place where we had the church, we had that, we were looking over these areas, and these sort of things were happening time and time again. The other thing was authority. Authority came through, authority was recognised, and the finances, as I say, came. The finances, when we built the church, people in Papua New Guinea don't have any money, and it's very, very weak. And they came up with, when the central office, they realised there was a problem there, but they said, look, we will give what you give. Okay, if you give, the kina or a dollar, we'll give the same. So we thought, okay, I don't know what that's going to do, but it did. I have no idea how it came. I don't know where the money came from, but it came, and they did this, and they were able to build a church there. And we had a few teething troubles with the church, like I think the second time we tried to use it, we had electrical problems, and with the power points. And what happened was power points were close to the floor, and they hosed the floor down. So, so it's like he didn't electrocute somebody, these sort of things. And yet, it's still, they finally got the message and found out, what was wrong. So they did learn by their actions, which was a good thing. And then again, you can have minor problems like that. Okay. Okay.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it for now.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things I think I'll just have a quick look at now and see if that's worth.
Yeah, that's cool.
But that basically established